Welcome to Ghost Survival, where the goal is simple: camp, survive, and disappear without leaving any evidence behind. Whether you're trying to avoid prying eyes, respect the wilderness, or just challenge yourself to master the art of stealth, this video will teach you how to move through the wild like you were never there. No flames, no footprints, no trail. Just the silence of the forest, and the knowledge that you left no mark behind. Today we'll cover how to cook without smoke, navigate without gadgets, set up invisible shelters, and more. Let's get started. Firstly, I know it messes up the whole secret agent camper effect, but tell a family member or a friend that you're going camping or hiking and what time you expect to be back. I know, but both unexperienced and experienced survivalists make mistakes, so be cautious, be smart. Section 1. Cooking without fire or smoke. Cooking in the wild usually comes with a giveaway: fire. It's easy to spot, even easier to smell, and in survival situations, you're sending up a smoke signal whether you mean to or not. But if you want to blend into your surroundings, you need to learn how to cook without flames or smoke. The first solution is a solar cooker. Harnessing the power of the sun isn't just energy efficient, it's invisible. With a solar cooker, there's no smoke, no flames, and no scent carrying on the wind. All you need is a little bit of sunlight, and the cooker will do the rest, slowly heating your food with reflective materials. Solar cookers are easy to pack, require zero fuel, and can be set up to blend with your environment. They're especially useful in desert or open field environments where fire is both dangerous and hard to conceal. But what if you're deep in the forest and the sun isn't cooperating? Enter cold soaking. Cold soaking is an underrated but effective method of food preparation. Rather than cooking your food, you let it sit in cold water for a few hours. Dehydrated meals, oats, and instant noodles are all prime candidates for this method. Sure, it's not a five-star gourmet meal, but in a pinch it works, and you've left no fire scars or evidence behind. In situations where heat is absolutely necessary, there are still options. Use a smokeless stove or a small, well-contained flame with an alcohol or propane burner, shielding the flame with rocks or foliage to block any visible light. You can even cook at night under cover of darkness to minimize the chances of being spotted. The key is discretion. Keep your fire small, low, and controlled. By doing so, you reduce your visibility and eliminate the obvious signs of human activity. Section 2. Leaving no trail behind. The first rule of stealth camping: walk lightly. The ground you walk on will bear your mark unless you're careful, and nothing gives away your presence faster than a trampled path. When hiking, stick to hard surfaces like rocks or dry ground, where your footprints won't be as noticeable. Wet or soft ground can preserve your tracks for days, inviting animals or people to follow. When possible, avoid walking in straight lines. Trails are easy to follow when they cut through the landscape like a straight line between 2 points. Instead, walk erratically or in zigzags to break up the obvious path. Step on logs, rocks, or thick foliage to avoid disturbing the ground too much. And if you can, walk in the shadows where the ground is drier. At camp, you need to think like an investigator cleaning up a crime scene. If you've set up in a spot for the night, make sure it looks like no one's been there when you leave. This means no tent imprints, no disturbed vegetation, and no leftover trash. Brush the ground where your tent was, and scatter any leaves or branches you moved. Don't forget to check for micro trash. Small items like a bottle cap or a food wrapper can give you away just as easily as a full-blown campsite. Even when you take your bathroom break, stealth is key. Human waste should be buried deep, at least 6 inches down, and away from any water source. Use natural cover like rocks or trees to hide your tracks and ensure no signs of activity are left behind. The forest should look exactly as it did before you arrived. Section 3. Discreet shelter setups. Your shelter is your fortress in the wilderness, but it shouldn't look like one. A bright tent in the middle of a forest clearing is an invitation for unwanted attention. The goal here is to blend in so seamlessly that even if someone walked by your camp, they wouldn't notice you were there. For the ultimate in ghost survival, consider building a natural debris shelter. A debris shelter is constructed using leaves, sticks, and other materials found around your campsite. It's low profile and blends perfectly with the environment. The key is to disturb as little of the surroundings as possible. Use fallen branches and leaves rather than cutting fresh ones, and arrange them in a way that looks natural. When you leave, you can scatter the shelter's materials, and it'll be like you were never there. Alternatively, you can use camouflage tarps or tents designed to blend into their surroundings. Set up your shelter among dense trees or bushes to conceal it further. Avoid clearings and open spaces. These are too easily seen from a distance. A good rule of thumb is to camp where the natural landscape provides cover. Hillsides, dense woods, or rock formations can help conceal your camp from prying eyes. One often overlooked factor in stealth camping is sound. Your shelter should not only be visually concealed, but quiet. Opt for materials that don't rustle or flap in the wind, and be mindful of noise when setting up or breaking camp. Silence is just as important as invisibility when you're trying to leave no trace. Section 4. Water collection without detection. Water is essential to survival, but it's also one of the trickiest resources to gather without leaving signs. You can't just walk up to a river with a massive water jug and expect no one to notice. Stealth water collection requires planning and precision. The best method? Rainwater collection. Set up a low-profile rain tarp or funnel system, ideally in an area that's naturally hidden by foliage. The tarp can be rigged to catch rain and funnel it into a collapsible water bladder. When it's not raining, your setup should be easily packed away, leaving no trace behind. This method is perfect for remote areas where you want to stay off-grid and avoid using obvious water sources. If rain isn't an option, you'll need to rely on natural sources like rivers or streams. Avoid high-traffic areas near well-known water sources, and never leave containers or equipment in the open. Collapsible water bladders are your best friend here. They're easy to hide, and you can stash them away quickly if needed. Be sure to purify your water before drinking, whether by boiling, if safe, using a portable water filter, or purification tablets. The key here is discretion. The fewer trips you make to the water source, the better. Remember, water isn't just for drinking. If you're washing up or cleaning utensils, do so away from the water source to avoid contaminating it. Dig a small hole to filter the water through the soil before it enters the stream. This helps protect the environment and keeps your activity undetected. Section 5. Navigating without gadgets. We've all become accustomed to using our smartphones for navigation, but in the wild, relying on GPS can give you away. Not only do electronic devices leave a digital footprint, but they also tie you to the grid, something you want to avoid in true ghost survival. Instead, learn to navigate the old-fashioned way, using natural landmarks, the sun and the stars. Start by learning the basics of natural navigation. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. The North Star, located above the horizon in the northern hemisphere, can guide you at night. Trees can also provide clues. Moss tends to grow more on the north side of trees, although this isn't a foolproof method. By training yourself to read the land, you'll be able to navigate without the need for a map or GPS, and you'll leave no digital trace behind. If you prefer to use a map, choose a small, foldable one that's easy to carry and conceal. Memorize key landmarks and routes before setting out, so you don't need to pull out the map every 5 minutes. This minimizes the time you spend fumbling with navigation tools and reduces the chance of being spotted. As for a compass, it's lightweight, silent, and leaves no evidence of your journey. Just don't forget how to use it properly. Section 6. Managing waste like a ghost. No one wants to talk about it, but waste management is a vital part of stealth survival. If you leave trash behind, you're as good as caught. Even biodegradable items, if left in the wrong place, can signal your presence to anyone passing by. To truly leave no trace, you need to master waste disposal. First, pack out all trash. That includes wrappers, food scraps, and any non-organic materials. Invest in lightweight resealable bags that can be compressed and easily stashed in your pack. Don't burn your trash. Aside from the environmental damage, it leaves behind evidence like ash and melted plastic. If you're dealing with food waste, bury it well away from your camp and any water sources. This keeps animals from digging it up and minimizes your impact on the environment. Human waste needs special attention. Always dig a cat hole at least 6 inches deep, and be sure to cover it thoroughly when you're done. If you're in a high-traffic area or sensitive environment, consider packing out your waste using portable systems designed for this purpose. It might not be glamorous, but it's the price of truly ghosting through the wilderness. Section 7. Silence is golden. Lastly, it's important to remember that sound can be just as much of a giveaway as sight. Stealth survival means moving quietly, setting up camp discreetly, and minimizing noise at all times. Use soft materials for your gear, nothing that clinks, rustles, or makes noise when you move. Practice setting up your shelter quickly and quietly, especially if you need to do so under pressure. Even the way you move through the forest matters. Walk slowly and carefully, avoiding loud branches or rustling leaves. Animals are sensitive to noise, and even if you're not worried about people, the local wildlife might alert them to your presence. The less noise you make, the more invisible you become. And there you have it. How to survive in the wild without leaving a trace. From smoke-free cooking to silent navigation, these skills will help you blend into the landscape, making your presence nearly impossible to detect. Whether you're a survivalist, a camper, or just someone looking for a deeper connection with nature, ghost survival teaches us not only how to survive, but how to do so respectfully and with minimal impact. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below with your own stealth survival tricks. Until next time, stay silent, stay hidden, and leave no trace. Godspeed, my friend.